Hello and welcome to Spectrum TV News at 12. I am Francis Oyima Edit, coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Bola Tinubu tells U.S. investors that opportunities in Nigeria is not obtainable elsewhere. Governor Moina reassures an establishment of elderly welfare centers. Plus, President Zelensky visits Canada for first time since Russia invasion. We will bring you details of these stories and more in a moment. Many thanks for staying with us. First in the news this afternoon is from the national scene, where President Bola Tinubu has told prospective investors that Nigeria has a unique mix of opportunities they would not find elsewhere. He also urged them not to be dissuaded by the negative narrative propagated in some quarters. Tinubu said this during the Nigeria's U.S. Executive Business Roundtable just after he rang the closing bell at the NASDAQ headquarters in New York City. A special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Ajirin Gelale, confirmed this in a statement he signed. President Tinubu assured prospective investors that while he recognizes the cowardly nature of investment capital, he intentionally brought successful Nigerian industrialists and public officials to share their experiences and operational plans respectively. Meanwhile, the presidency has said that the world's second largest stock exchange, the National Association of Securities Dealers Automatic Quotation System, NASDAQ, and the world's financial capital invited President Tinubu to ring the closing bell, making him the first African president to ever receive the honor. In a statement, the media and publicity during Galala said that the invitation is also an honor of President Bola Tinubu's determined global push to aggressively attract foreign direct investment into Nigeria. According to him, the president, who was surrounded by Nigerian business leaders and officials of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, did not fail to seize the opportunity presented by the historic moment to boldly advance his foreign investment push at the Stock Exchange. The president noted that his government continues to address long-standing problems and impediments, such as his work to restore and unify the foreign exchange rate market to a stable and trustworthy level, allowing investors to seamlessly bring their money into the country free of worries about whether or not they can take their money out at any point in time. Away from that, the Senate has asked the Nigerian police to deepen investigation to ensure the circumstances surrounding the death of Ilario Oluwa Oladimeji Aloba are unraveled. The Senate vowed to ensure that anyone found responsible for his death is brought to book. The Chairman Senate Committee on Creative Economy, Elisha Abo, said this when he led a delegation including Tonto Dike and Iyabo Ojo on a condolence visit to Adebose Olumuyi, Mobetse's mother, in Lekki, Lagos. According to Abo, the Senate would be inviting the police to brief the National Assembly on the development. In the meantime, the Lagos State Police Command has disclosed that autopsy on the remains of late singer Ilario Oluwa Oladimeji Aloba, popularly known as Mohbad, has been concluded and the result is being awaited. The command spokesperson Benjamin Hundeyin disclosed this in a post on his X account, formerly called Twitter. Recall that the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Betokun, had ordered the investigation into the rapper's passage, asking the Lagos State Police authorities to carry out a thorough probe. In a separate development, the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) has postponed the Monetary Policy Committee's 293rd meeting, which was scheduled for September 25th and 26th, 2023. This was made known by a statement by the bank's Director of Corporate Communications, Issa Abdul Mumim. Although the Apex Bank did not provide any reason for the postponement, reports say it is connected to the newly appointed governor and deputy governors of the bank that had not yet been approved. Recall that President Bola Tinubu nominated Yemi Kodoso to head the CBN and also approved the nomination of 4 new deputy governors of the Apex Bank to serve for a similar duration of 5 years in the first instance, pending their confirmation by the Senate. On judicial matters, the United States District Court for Northern Illinois Eastern Division has stayed compliant with all deadlines contained in the ruling by Magistrate Jeffrey Gilbert, directing the Chicago State University (CSU) to within 2 days release President Bola Tinubu's academic records to the candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in the last presidential election. Atiku Abubakar, the court in proceedings conducted via video conference, ordered that the stay shall remain in force pending its ruling on the objections to be filed by an intervenor in the case brought against the CSU by Atiku. In the court document, which also contained a schedule of when parties are to file their processes in relation to the intervention's objections, the court directed that the intervenor shall file his objections by 9 a.m. on September 25th, following which the petitioner may file a response on September 27th. Recall that Atiku on August 2nd applied to the court to compel the CSU to provide him with Tinubu's academic records, claiming to doubt the authenticity of the university's certificate that the Tinubu presented to the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) before the election. Meanwhile, the Plateau State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Jos has dismissed the petition of the All Progressive Congress (APC) against the election of Governor Caleb Mutfwang of the People's Democratic Party (PDP). The tribunal held that the PDP had held a valid Congress in Plateau State on 25th September 2023. The tribunal also held that the issue of nomination and sponsorship of the candidate is a pre-election matter. And back here, Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Moino has assured the people, both the young and old, of priority attention in his administration. Accordingly, special centers to cater for the welfare and well-being of the elderly are to be established, just as model public schools and health facilities are on the cards for execution across the state. The governor, who is in President Bola Tinubu's delegation to the 78th UN General Assembly, disclosed these on the sidelines when he addressed a cross-section of Nigerians and investment new. He spoke in New York and in glowing terms of President Tinubu's inclusivity in governance, explaining that it portends hope for a better Nigeria. Pastor Eno also opened up on the recent commencement of palliative distribution in the state, which he had personally flagged off. He said his government ensured that at least 5 billion naira was injected to complement the 2 billion naira he had received from the federal government.
For inviting me to join his entourage in this
lined up a number of activities to mark the annual celebration as it clocks 36 years on September 23, 2023. A schedule of events released by the Ministry of Information indicated that the celebration commenced yesterday with the kickoff of the Governor's Cup tournament at the Uyo Township Stadium. The release also indicated that today, journalists in Akwa Ibom will be hosted to a media parley at the Government House, while 10 a.m. on Saturday, September 23rd, has been slated for the flag-off of Made in Akwa Ibom Trade Fair at the Ibom lead headquarters, former Ibom E Library in Uyo, noting that the midday of the same day, a new paramount ruler will be installed at the traditional rulers' chambers along Wellington Bassey Way in Uyo before a banquet at the State House Hall by 7 p.m. Speaking on the celebration, which will be rounded off with a Thanksgiving service at the Apostolic Church of Biumo on Sunday, the 23rd day of September, the Commissioner for Information in Yememebon said this year's anniversary of the creation of Akwa Ibom State calls for gratitude from all the Akwa Ibom people at home and in the diaspora, because the state has recorded significant achievements on many fronts. The Commissioner asserted that with their RISE agenda, Pastor Omoeno was ready to raise the bar of socio-economic and infrastructural development in Akwa Ibom. He therefore called on all stakeholders and Akwa Ibom people in general to be part of the anniversary or celebrations from wherever they may be in the world, as the event will be broadcast live on state government official social media handles. Now to Africa, where African governments have called on the UN Human Rights Council to terminate the mandate of a team of human rights experts in Ethiopia after the submission of its latest report earlier this week. The expert panel said war crimes and crimes against humanity were still being committed despite the signing of cessation of hostilities agreement officially ending the war in Tigray. It further stated that violent confrontations are at a near national scale. The call stands in stark contrast to calls by global rights watchdogs like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch for the mandate to be extended amid renewed violence in northern Ethiopia. Still in Africa, Sudan's de facto leader, General Abdel al-Burhan, has warned the United Nations that the country's war could spill over into neighboring African nations. In a speech at the United Nations General Assembly, Burhan also argued that the Rapid Support Forces should be considered a terrorist group as they had supported killings, burning, raping, forced displacement, looting, stealing, torture, trafficking of arms and drugs, as well as bringing mercenaries into the country. General Burhan said his party was open to peace talks to put an end to the war, saying that the RSF had refused. Meanwhile, his opponent, General Dagalo Hameti, said he was ready to engage in peace talks. To the foreign scene now, where Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has arrived in Canada for the first time since the Russian invasion. Reports say his visit comes after increasing doubts from international partners over how it should continue providing aid to Kyiv. The president in his visit will address Parliament again to plead for continued support from Canada, a country that has reportedly provided weapons, tanks, and training for Ukrainian soldiers. He will also meet business leaders in Toronto during his visit. Recall that the Ukraine's leader had urged world leaders to continue to support Ukraine to help fight off Russia. Still on the foreign scene, Ukrainian officials have announced that a second grain ship has left the Ukrainian Black Sea port of Chronomux near the city of Odessa after making the inbound journey last weekend. According to Ukraine's infrastructure minister Oleksandra Kubravkov, the Palo flag vessel called the Aroyat left the port after loading 17,600 tons of Ukrainian wheat for Egypt. Kubravkov said the vessel is the second ship carrying grain to leave the port this week after a smaller ship left Chronomux under Ukraine's temporary humanitarian corridor. Recall that Ukraine established a temporary corridor last month after Russia pulled out of a UN-brokered agreement guaranteeing safe passage for grain ships across the Black Sea. Still to come in the news, Mohamed Kudus scores West Ham beats Baka Topola in Europa League. Do stay with us.